So one of the first really catastrophic big injury cases I worked on here at Jordan Law was, and it ultimately resolved for 8 figures, multiple 8 figures, was a young man named Peter. And he was a cook in a kitchen at a hotel resort lodge. Unbeknownst to him, someone working for a natural gas company was inspecting nearby gas lines and gauges, whatnot, and had gotten out of his truck and left the truck in neutral instead of park, and the truck was positioned on a little bit of a decline. And the truck started rolling away from him. Down the road, hit a rock, hit the right bump, and quite literally the back of this truck crashes into the wall where there's a fryer where my client Peter is at, making fries, making French fries. And the hot oil from the fryer with the open flame that's right next to him on the stovetop combines and engulfs him in flames. And I mean engulfs him. And he is screaming, he is running outside to grab the hose to start hosing his body off. He can see his own reflection in the windows of the building outside where he is hosing his body off and watching skin come off of his own body. And when I tell you, when he told me that story, it was one of the hardest things I'd ever heard a client tell me. And I remember Jason and I quite literally didn't say anything for minutes, because what could you say other than just take it in, listen to his story, and then think, how are we going to help him? And he was in the hospital for months on end here nearby, Craig Hospital, I believe it was, and in the fantastic burn unit. And they were growing skin for him actually in a lab in Boston and shipping it back to, essentially apply and cosmetically apply new skin to his body. He was burned. 2/3 of his body was the most severe grade burn you can have. And he was in the hospital for months. And I remember thinking, how could he possibly maintain any sort of optimism or hope? And he had the best attitude. And I used to go there on Fridays with my Xbox and play video games with him and bring him some Detroit-style pizza from a nearby pizzeria because it was his favorite. And we'd eat some pizza and we'd play some video games and we'd just hang out, because I can't imagine dealing with the pain and dealing with the understanding that this is going to be your new life, and also being in that hospital bed for months wondering, am I going to make it? Am I going to be okay? Am I ever going to be able to take my shirt off again without crying? He was one of the toughest individuals I ever kind of had the honor of representing, and he was just a sweet kid, and we loved him, and he just stuck it out. I mean, he probably had a couple dozen surgeries, skin grafts, transplant surgeries. I mean, it was an incredible amount that he went through, pain-wise, and just the amount of fortitude he required to get through that in one piece and keep it together mentally. That was an impressive feat. I still to this day, I'm not sure how Peter did it, but he was a special person, and he was the kind of person you couldn't help but watch everything he was going through, see what he's going through, understand that there's so much going on in his mind, and yet what he put out there was just, it's going to be okay, I'm all right, the doctor's got me, everything's going to be all right, I'm alive, I'm so happy to be alive. And if that doesn't provide you some perspective in this life, I don't know what will. And so he was somewhat of a gift in terms of representing someone who'd been really severely injured, because he did kind of teach us a lot. Jason and I would talk about it a lot, how his attitude and his demeanor and his outlook on life really kind of shook us a little bit in the sense of, hey, be grateful for what you have, and try not to worry about what you don't have.